All right, so now that we have our nice user interface, I'm going to show you how to create an automation. So we're going to go down to Configure, our configuration, and then we're going to go to Automation. And in Automation, we're going to click this little plus sign down here to create a new automation. So for this one, I'm going to name it Door Light. And for door light, what I want it to do is when the door is open, I want it to turn on all the lights. So that's where trigger comes in. Trigger is what you want to start your automation. What is going to trigger that automation to begin? For here, I'm going to go click on Entity, and then I'm going to go down to Door Sensor. And for door sensor, I don't need to fill in from, I just need to fill in to, and I'm going to go and type in open. Now I have to be very careful that open in all lowercase, all uppercase, because that is exactly what the door sensor sends when it's doing that. Now I can set a for, if I want it to be open for a certain amount of time. That is done in the format of 00 colon 00 colon, let's say 2 seconds. So if the door is open for 2 seconds, it is going to trigger this event. Now I can put in conditions, like if I wanted to add something in, like it'll only do this at nighttime or when the sun is down, or read from the light sensor or some other sensor. And if all conditions are true, then it's going to let me proceed with our actions. So what the action does is it basically allows us to turn on our lights. So we're going to go here to Service. And to Service, you're going to see a lot of different services here. For this, I'm going to go to Turn On. So Light Turn On. And here I have service data. So service data is where things get a little complicated, especially for lights. But I'm going to show you how we're going to get this done. So I'm going to save this really quick, and it should save it with no problems. If you have errors, like you put something incorrect here, you don't fill out one of these, it may give you an error and not save, but this did just fine. So I'm going to go to Development Tools, and under Development Tools, I'm going to go to this thing over here called Services. So Services is going to be really helpful to get you to figuring out how you're going to set up all of your different calls for things like turning on lights. Most of that stuff is done using JSON, and this will help you figure out how to format the JSON. So in this case, I'm using Light Turn On. And you can see I have all of these options. Now, not all of these options are going to work for these particular lights, but this is how you would phrase it. So if I want to turn on, let's say light number 5, I'm going to pick entity 5, light 5. Now that is the light that is closest to the front door. And you can see it puts that entity ID right here. So this is how you identify what light it is that you want to turn on. So this is telling you that you want to turn on a light, and this is telling you what light it is that you are turning on. Now we do have to, we can change other things, like for example, I want to change the color of this. So I'm going to put a comma at the end. You can see that we have an invalid JSON here, so it is going to check as we go. I'm going to put 2 quotation marks, and then I'm going to put a colon, and then 2 more quotation marks, and you can see that goes away. But what I want to do is I want to take my color name here. So this is going to take a human readable color name, and I can set that as the color of the light. So I'm going to put that in here, and then I am going to change this to red. Most color names will work just fine with this. You can see that is formatted correctly. I'm going to quickly switch to a camera with the house on, and now I can call that service and I can check to see if that is going to work. And yes, of course, that did turn on my light to red, so I know that is going to work. So what I can do is I can now go ahead and copy that piece of JSON. And I'm going to go back to my configurations. I'm going to go to automation, and I'm going to edit that door sensor, and I'm going to paste that right here for service data, and then I'm going to save it. And now what I should be able to do is I can turn off that light, and now when I open the door, it should turn that light on. But it's only turning that light on if the door is open for 2 seconds. So I'm going to try that one more time. I'm going to switch it so you can see the house. And now if I push that door open, you can see the light comes on automatically. So that's a quick tutorial on how to do an automation. Automations can be as simple or as complex as you want them to be. And there's a lot of information out there on what to do, but I recommend definitely looking at this tool, the service tool under development. It gives you a tremendous amount of help into getting your JSON formatted correctly. That is pretty much going to be the most complex thing that you're going to do with a lot of these automations, unless of course you want to go in and start doing more advanced stuff with the YAML files. So that's it, and with that you should be on your way to programming your new smart home.